models up next on the pole. Car number 45, Dave Jackson, Scott Neal. Outside of him, then it'll be the 15 of Rick Ronimus and the 6 of Royce Mason in row number 2. Inside row number 3 is the 10 of Rick Tomasic and the 2 of Dave Brandenburg. Inside row number 4, Tim Neal and the 42 and the 07 of Rex Betties. In the next row, outside is Rick Ramsayer and the 22. Inside is the 38 of Mike Bryant. Then it's the 78 of Bull Baker on the outside, the 63 of Jim Crabtree on the inside. Then there's the 13 car. 31 car having his problems. He's still in his pit stall. The 14 car tagged the wall. Josh Clemens. He tagged the wall in hot laps earlier today. Wasn't sure whether he'd get back out, but it looks like he is. Josh Clemens in the 14. One lap to go, and we'll be to green flag racing for the Winchester late models. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you that not only does Penstrip Productions do selected events here at Winchester Speedway, but we videotape each and every week at Columbus Motor Speedway in Columbus, Ohio, Killcare Speedway in Xenia, Ohio, and Killcare Dragway for the Midwest's finest video racing series, Penstrip Productions. Not a start, no start. Rick Monroe says, no thank you. We'll get him relined back up. We'll get a start here in a moment.
And as they came out of turn 4, Dave wanting a good, slow start. He dropped back off the pace. Scotty Neal eased down. And Rick Monroe said, not this time, guys. So let's watch again.
The late model features are 50 laps today. There's 2 of them, 2 50-lap features.
All eyes on Rick Monroe, the official starter. Dave Jackson, car number 45.
Green flag comes out and we are racing. Scott Neal, your early leader. Dave Jackson back to second. Rick Ronimus now runs in third. It's still Scott Neal, your leader. Dave Jackson running in second. Rick Ronimus, Royce Mason, and Rick Tomasic. Car gets around the 07 of Rex Betties, car number 13. And next to try Betties will be the 63 of Jim Crabtree. Rex Betties seems to be running a lot better today. Yesterday he just kind of motored around the track. Today it seems like he's really racing. So Rex Betties getting that car worked on and getting some of the bugs worked out of that car. 13 car makes it around the 22 of Rick Ramsayer. Rex Betties and Jim Crabtree still battle back there, side by side. Betties and Crabtree both looking real good and real stout today. Crabtree now gets around the Betties machine. Scott Neal, your leader, and Dave Jackson running in second. Have a few car lengths between them. Good battle going on between Rick Tomasic and the 31. Rick Thomas in 10 and the 31 machine. I don't have the name of that driver. And the 78 of Bull Baker. And now the 31 looking to the inside of Tomasic. Car number 31 now getting around Rick Tomasic. Dave Brandenburg with a spin down the front straightaway, car number 2. Dave Brandenburg not quite having the handle on that car this weekend.
Here's Dave Jackson, 45.
And the crew goes to work on the Brandenburg machine.
Car number 15. Royce Mason in car number 6. The red car with the white nose, and behind him is Chris Orr, car number 31. Now, by virtue of the fact that Rick Tomasic dropped out there to get a tire changed, behind Chris Orr will be Bull Baker into car number 78.
Chris Orr in car number 31. Thank you, Dan Bogart. Chris Orr in car number 31.
He started way back in the back and come to the back like Jack the Bear here. So let's see what happens with that 78 car when we go back to green flag racing. The line is off the base car.
The lineup is like this: Scott Neal, Dave Jackson, Rick Ronimus, Royce Mason. Rick Tomasic coming in for a tire change. After Royce Mason is the 31 of Chris Orr, and then Bull Baker in 78. So the 31 machine normally piloted by Brian Reevely, driven today by Chris Orr in car number 31. And now Orr drops back a little bit. Betty's getting around. I don't know what happened to the 31 machine, but he's dropping back now through the pack. Scott Neal, Dave Jackson, Rick Ronimus, and Royce Mason, your top 4. The 13 car collecting the wall in turn 4. That'll bring out a caution flag as he is slow, and it doesn't appear he'll get back around to the pit area. And we take a look at the badly battered 13 machine. Man, he must have hit the wall a ton. Scott Neal, your leader. 45, Dave Jackson. Rick Ronimus, Royce Mason. Green flag, and we're back to racing. now right on the back bumper of Scott Neal. Royce Mason, Bull Baker, Chris Orr, all battling side by side, bumper to bumper back there. .33 of 50 laps now complete. Ronimus, car number 15, coming into the pits. Rick was running third or fourth, I think, at the time. Car number 15, Rick Ronimus, with a problem on that car. Scott Neal, Dave Jackson, still your top two cars. Good battle going on between Bull Baker and the 31 of Chris Orr. Battle for third and fourth position as the white flag comes out for your leader, car number 12, Scott Neal. Dave Jackson runs in second. And third is Bull Baker, 31 of Chris Orr, running in fourth. Your winner will be car number 12, Scott Neal. Dave Jackson finishes second. Third will go to Bull Baker, and then Chris Orr in car number 31. Well, as we take a look at the Scott Neal machine, the winner of this 50-lap late model race, there will be another 50-lap late model race. The Super Stocks also have yet to run. Up next, though, are the iCar Modifieds. And as I said earlier, we don't have a lineup for these guys, so we're going to do just what you're doing. We're going to sit back and relax and enjoy the iCar Modifieds right now after we look at the winner's circle with Scott Neal.
05595. You won a Hoosier Lottery hat. 05681. A Hoosier Lottery t-shirt. That's 05681. Glad to have you joining us here in the books of the Hoosier Lottery this weekend. Hopefully we'll see you back many, many more times next year. Daddy, thanks for Looks like a flat on Jeff Boltz's car, number 1M, as we see him changing the right rear on that car. The 7C car, Mike Kane, down. Looks like he's to the racetrack. Seems to be able to restart it. We go back to racing after this yellow. Super Stock Cars, you already right up. Returning in here at turn 4 down there in that turn 4 area, if you will, please. Super Stock lineup. Feature event.
as some track cleanup goes out on the track, we'll see Roger Haldeman, track owner, stand down there in his blue shirt, looking over the cleanup work going on as the guy is literally shoveling rubber off of the hybrid of the track. You think this track's not abrasive? You think these guys are not burning off some tires? Look at all that rubber. And there's Roger Haldeman himself doing the sweeping.
As ladies and gentlemen, it's common knowledge that this Labor Day weekend, pretty much the weekend that we all think of when we think of Jerry Lewis and the Muscular Dystrophy Association, the Labor Day weekend has historically been dedicated to that cause. And along those lines, and while we have a break in the action, remember Winchester Speedway's 1994 Super Stock champion. Lost to us in a racing accident last season, Ray Hanna was not only a true champion, but he was a genuine, nice person. The drivers making up today's championship feature field have chosen to honor their fallen comrade by giving him the pole position before the start of this race with the customary missing man formation. And as we rejoice in Ray's accomplishments, and join with his family in mourning his loss, we will not forget him. Godspeed, champ. We miss you, and we take this opportunity and this moment of silence for you. Let's fire them, gentlemen, and go racing.
The one thing I always remember about Ray Hanna is that no matter what he was doing or where he was going, he always had a smile on his face and a hello for you. Ray will miss you. All right, Super Stock feature lineup. On the poles, car number 38, Mike Bryant. He'll have his choice of whether or not to go to the tail of the field and collect that extra $200. Outside of him is the 52 of Brett Miles. Then it's the 34F of Scott Fields. 82, Johnny Williams. 55, Phil Jenkins is next, and outside of him the 62 of Johnny Schaefer. 8, Barry Jackson. 34, Dave Ellis. 21, Mark Fessmeyer. The 40 of Eddie Simpson. 77 is Bruce Kinzer. The 7 of Jack Leisure. 30 is Johnny Crank. 69, Rick Tharp. 84, Tony Treacle. 62, Dan Vickery. And the 69 is Steve Raper. And it looks like Mike Bryant is choosing not to go back to the tail of the field. He'll start on the pole position. And here they come for the green flag. Come out turn 4 for the first time. It's Mike Bryant, Brett Miles. 1 and 2 as we see some smoke coming from the Brett Miles machine. Must be some tire smoke as it seems to only really get bad in the corners. Johnny Williams and Johnny Schaefer battling side by side for that third position. Schaefer still Mike Bryant. Brett Miles, 1 and 2. 82 of Johnny Williams. The 62 of Johnny Schaefer. 34, Scott Fields. 55, Phil Jenkins. Looks like the 8 car of Barry Jackson there. Machine with the overheating problem, Jack Leisure, as the 55 of Phil Jenkins is getting a tire change. 34 of Scott Fields also coming in.
Behind him, Tony Drinkle, car number 84, making a real strong charge from the back.
And he is getting a tire change also. 52 of Brett Miles also in.
Scott Fields in the pit area, the 7th car with the overheating problem. 17 was black flag for spreading oil on the racetrack. Brett Miles, we see also down in the pit area, several encounters out. We see Phil Jenkins making his way back out to the racetrack.
55 Phil Jenkins going back out towards the track. Brett Miles still sits there. The other 7 car, the red 7 car, the name on him also fits. And we look at the tire that came off of Scott Fields' car. left of that tire. One more lap and we'll be back to green flag racing.
Johnny Williams in car number 82, followed by Barry Jackson, Tony Trinkle.
It's Mike Bryant, your leader. 62 of Johnny Schaefer. Runs in second. The 82 of Johnny Williams, third. Looks like maybe the 8 of Barry Jackson in fourth. Green flag comes out and we are racing once again. And immediately Johnny Schaefer looks to the inside of Mike Bryant. He slips back as Bryant takes back over that lead. They still battle side by side through turns 3 and 4. Now Schaefer looks to the inside down the back or down the front straightaway. Johnny Williams slowed down the back straightaway now as the caution comes out. 20 laps of this 50-lap feature now complete. 30 laps to go. 82 machine of Johnny Williams. Getting a tire change.
Real quickly, she'll come back out onto the racetrack. You'll have to fall to the jail.
Flies once again, and we are racing. Bryant, 62, Johnny Schaefer go at it for the lead once again. The 8-car Barry Jackson runs in third, and fourth is the 84 of Tony Trinkle. He's sideways through turns 3 and 4. Scott Fields behind him in fifth. You see the Eddie Simpson machine car number 40 running there. 84 of Tony Trinkle into the turn 3 wall. The 55 of Phil Jenkins spins. We got caution. One more lap to go. We'll be back to green flag racing. It's Mike Bryant, your leader. Schaefer runs in second. Barry Jackson runs in third. On the inside there is Eddie Simpson, lap down or so. 34 Scott Fields looks like he's running in fourth. And the 52 of Brett Miles is running in fifth, I believe. Now that's the 87 car, no name on that car. That car has been steadily moving up from the back of the pack to the front of the pack, however, car number 87 behind Scott Fields. Car spinning, that's the 84 of Tony Trinkle once again, this time in turn 2. 31 of the 50 laps now complete. 38 Mike Bryant, 62 Johnny Schaefer, the 8 of Barry Jackson. The 34 car is next. Green flag comes out. Scott Fields. And then the 87 machine. Johnny Williams coming into the pits with a right front tire that is flat. Looks like he might have tagged the wall.
Car number 21.
We should get a green flag next time around. Mike Bryant, Jerry Schaefer, Johnny Schaefer, one of them. Mike Bryant, Johnny Schaefer, Barry Jackson, Scott Fields, the 87 machine, the 21. Mark Fesmeyer is the 21 machine, of course. 87 car with a spin, and he tags the inside pit wall. Car number 87, caution on the track. 36 laps now complete. It's Mike Bryant, Johnny Schaefer, and Barry Jackson, your top three. Scott Fields after that, the 21, and Mark Fesmeyer.
Scott Fields, he's in fourth, and in fifth is J.C. Cook.
And it looks like the 55 of Phil Jenkins is next.
He's made his way back up the bunch.
Green flag, and we are racing once again. Mike Bryant, Johnny Schaefer, Barry Jackson. Scott Fields running in fourth, looks to the inside now. Barry Jackson has the 21H of Mark Fesmeyer right there. Machine cutting his way back up to the top of the pack again. Car number 87 moving back up through the pack. Your leader is still Mike Bryant. Running in second is Johnny Schaefer. Barry Jackson still runs third. Scott Fields in fourth. And now the 55 machine looks underneath the 21. Car number 55, Phil Jenkins. And the 87 machine up into the wall once again. Phil Jenkins looks to the inside of Scott Fields as the 87 machine moves in on the Phil Jenkins machine. I just found out car number 87, that's Tim McLaughlin in 87. Tim McLaughlin in car number 87. Phil Jenkins and Scott Fields still battle for that third position, I believe they're in. No, fourth position. Barry Jackson still runs third. Johnny Schaefer running second. Of course, Mike Bryant still out there in front. White flag for your leader, car number 38, Mike Bryant. Running in second is Johnny Schaefer. And your winner will be car number 38, Mike Bryant. Johnny Schaefer finishes second. Barry Jackson, Scott Fields, Phil Jenkins, the 87 of Tim McLaughlin.
I don't know.
Your winner, car number 38, Mike Bryant. Models up next. Scott Neal on the pole, car number 31. Chris Orr outside of him. Then it's the 78 of Bull Baker. 45 Dave Jackson. That's 10 Rick Thomas, 6 Royce Mason, 63 Jim Crabtree. Out of focus car there. The 42 of Tim Neal. 14 of Josh Clemens. 38 is Mike Bryant. 07 Rex Betty's. 22 Rick Ramsayer. 2 Dave Brandenburg. Now I want to double check that lineup. I don't think I quite gave it to you right, especially the first 2 or 3 positions. Scott Neal, Dave Jackson, Bull Baker, and Chris Orr are the top 4 cars. I think I had Chris Orr up there in second. 63 Jim Crabtree, and outside of him is the 6 of Royce Mason.
And $15.
The green flag comes out and we are racing. Dave Jackson, your early leader, car number 12. Scott Neal runs in second. 31 of Chris Orr runs third. Now Chris Orr looks to the inside of Scott Neal through turns 3 and 4. Chris Orr, never before seen this track before this weekend, doing quite a fine job in that 31 machine. Scott Neal runs in the 12 machine. And Chris Orr looks to the inside once again and can't quite get, oh, he's coming up. And he may have him. They're side by side down the front straightaway, but Scott Neal battles back on the outside going into turn 1. Side by side now once again coming down the back straightaway. Chris Orr with the slight advantage. Now Chris Orr, car number 31, runs in second. Scott Neal back to third. Bull Baker running there in fourth. Scott Neal seems to have a problem, as that car seems to have lost the handle very loose. And now Bull Baker will get under for third position. Scott Neal with his problems in this feature event. Rick Tomasic, and I believe that's the 6 of Royce Mason battle side by side. And Scott Neal slows dramatically down the back straightaway. Problems for the number 12 car. And Neal appears to want to get down into the infield as we got a car stalled or spun over in turn 3. That's the 38 of Mike Bryant. All right, it's the 45 of Dave Jackson. 31 is Chris Orr. 78 Bull Baker with 5 laps complete. Jackson still your leader. Chris Orr looking to the inside now. Dave Jackson, car number 45, your leader. Chris Orr looks into the inside once again down the back straightaway. Car number 31, Chris Orr, runs in second to Dave Jackson's lead. Once again, inside, coming off of 2. They're side by side now, going into 3. Dave Jackson with the advantage. He shuts the door going into 4. There's the third place car, the 78 of Bull Baker. Running in fourth is the 10 of Rick Tomsick. 6 of Royce Mason runs in fifth. Dave Jackson still your leader in the car number 45. Chris Orr runs in second. 14 laps now complete. Jackson, your leader. Car number 31, Chris Hoare, running in second. Good run for that young man. We got the 22 of Rick Ramsayer and 63 of Jim Crabtree doing some battle back there. Laps now in, 20 more laps to go. And there's your leader, car number 45, Dave Jackson, right on his tail, the 31, Chris Hoare. Comes out. Car on the backstretch looks like the 42 of Tim Neal back there. "37 laps complete." Dave Jackson, the 31 of Chris Hoare. The 78 of Bull Baker, third. Green flag, and we're back to racing. Rick Tomsick in the Tin Machine behind Bull Baker, and then the 6 of Royce Mason. Chris Orr to the inside of Dave Jackson once again down the back straightaway, but can't quite make the job work. 45 of Dave Jackson, your leader. 31, Chris Orr runs in second. Laps to go. 5 more laps for your leader, car number 45, Dave Jackson, and now Chris Orr begins to put the pressure on. Bull Baker still holds down that 3rd position. Car spinning. I believe that's the 22, Rick Ramsayer. Spins over in turn 4. That'll bring out a caution. All right, 3 more laps to go. Dave Jackson, Chris Orr, Bull Baker, Rick Thompson, Royce Mason, and Jim Crabtree. Green flag. Chris Orr pulls right up on his back bumper. 1 more lap to go for your leader, Dave Jackson, car number 45. And here comes Chris Orr down the back straightaway. Inside through turns 3 and 4. Is going to be enough. No, Dave Jackson, your winner, car number 31. Chris Orr finishes second. Then it's Bull Baker and Royce Mason. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you once again that Pinstrok Productions not only videotapes here at Winchester Speedway, but every week at Columbus Motor Speedway, Killcare Speedway, and Killcare Dragway. For the Midwest's finest video racing series, Pinstrok Productions. For everybody from Pinstrok Productions, I'm Nate Pennington, and we will see you next season here at Winchester Speedway at the track.
Report to the scales immediately, if not sooner. JC, could please report.
And as we look out towards the horizon, Kim, I'll be home in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand as Dave Jackson in the big